talks to the governor of Benue State, Mr. Samuel Ortom. Your Excellency, nice to see you again. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
The situation we find ourselves now is different from the situation when I last spoke to you about 2 years now, going to 2 years, just before COVID arrived. Do you think the situation, with everything considered, is better today than it was then? And if so, and if not, why?
Well, I will say yes and no. Yes, because there are more committed efforts than what we were seeing in terms of security. And of course, without security, there can be no meaningful development. In fact, there can be nothing going on. Schools will be affected, farmers will be affected, government will be affected as we have it. But we are not there yet. And I still want to emphasize that we're living in a federation. We have federating units, we have the federal government, we have the state, we have the local government. And I think that the coercive forces, the security agencies, are purely the responsibility of the federal government. What we do as state, yes, we are chief security officers, but in court. And so it requires the political will from the federal government, and with we complementing, to get to the destination for security in this country. So far, I say no, things are not better. Yes, there have been some minimum efforts, but we need to go to the maximum. Then things will be better. The cooperation between security agencies in the state and the state government, as far as I'm concerned today, is better than what used to be. That is appreciated. But I think that the federal government will need to do more. I see a lot of lack of commitment from the part of the federal government in ensuring that we have security in this country. And I give you an example. Recently, the federal government have demonstrated the capacity, the will to go after Nnamdi Kanu, who was leading IPOD. And I am told that he was even arrested in a foreign land with the cooperation of Interpol and so on. And today, I hear that some Igboho have been arrested. You know, with that kind of commitment, it shows that, yes, the federal government have capacity. Today, bandits, Fulani militia, are terrorizing the entire country. The country is in disarray. And these Fulani militia have come out with video clips and sent to the people that they were brought here by government. Everybody have seen that. I have also watched that video clip. And I'm sure you have also watched it, and many other Nigerians. And they have identified where they are. It was amazing that a top government official came out to say that the Fulani militia and bandits are invisible. How? Are they spirits? And so why is the government not going after this Fulani militia and bandits that are terrorizing the entire country and terrorizing my state? Just 2 days ago, 2 humanitarian workers in my own village who went to offer humanitarian services were gunned down by this Fulani militia and their phones taken away. And one of my relations from my council ward, who is a 200 level student in Benue State University, there were 3 on that motorcycle and they were gunned down. And the Fulani militia took the phone. When one of our brothers called, they confirmed that yes, they had killed them and they are in possession of the phone. And that they should tell me to repeal the prohibition of open grazing law and provision for ranching. Otherwise, they have the right to continue to kill, since I said there will be no open grazing in Benue State. They will continue to kill my people.
So that's the reason why they say they are focusing on Benue.
Of course, that is what they said.
But your colleagues now, your other 16 colleagues in the south, sorry, 17 in the south, and now your other colleagues in the north too are banning open grazing. The ones in the south say by September 1st, there will be no such thing and the laws will be in place just like your state has a law.
So you see, it is amazing. I'm very surprised when you hear Meaitiala come out to take responsibility for sending these bandits and militia to kill us. When you hear Fulani nationality movement, taking responsibility for the killings in Benue and even the attempted assassination on my life. And after reporting up to today, I have not heard any apprehension from security agencies and all that. And so for whatever reason they have, because they have been exposed, because this is not an ordinary invasion, it's an invasion to take over the land, and they have said that they have not hidden it. I have documents and press statements from Fulani Nationality Movement and Meaitiala, who say that except Nigerians and Benue people decide to live their own same way of life, otherwise they will not know peace. I have documents from Funam who said that they will continue to kill, that this is a continuation of 1804 jihad, that they came here in Benue and were defeated, that they will continue it and they will kill our people, they will rape our children, they will rape our wives, they will send the people away. They have the resources, they have the power, they have the armory to destroy us. These are not hidden things. I have written reports to the presidency, I have written to the vice president, I have written to security agencies and attached copies of this press statement. This provocative press statement, I have given it to them, but yet no action. And today you tell me those people are invisible. They are in Abuja, attached with heavily armed security agencies and are moving about. So how can you deny that government is not aware of this? And when the bandits themselves are coming out to say that, yes, we are being sponsored by the government, how can they deny it?
So are you saying, Your Excellency, that the operation that was set up, the one that had the army, the police, and so on, and that was sent to Benue after the imbroglio with the former Inspector General of Police, who was asked to take action then by the president but didn't, has not achieved much?
No. This one they have done very well. Operation White Stroke, they've done well in terms of curtailing general criminality, not just the bandits, not just the Fulani herdsmen, not just the kidnapping activities here in Benue State, armed robbery and other forms of criminal activities, courtesan and all that. They've been very supportive and they have done well. I must commend them since the inception. They have done well, but the challenge is truly they are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed in the sense that the manpower is not enough, the equipment is not enough, and of course, other logistics that would have helped. On our part, with all the difficulties, but we try to support them, but it has not been easy. And so On their part, they have done well. In fact, the entire security agencies here in Benue State, whether civil defense, police, the army, and all that, have been doing very well. That is why we have some of this minimum peace that we're enjoying today. Otherwise, it would have been consumed. But I tell you, as I talk to you, I have over 1.5 million IDPs.
That was actually going to be my next question, because the last time I spoke to you,
yes,
there weren't that many. That's number one. But then you were also still overwhelmed at that, as far back as then, by the number and providing for them. And at that time, you had said you had no assistance from the agencies that should ordinarily step in to help when this kind of situation arises. Has that situation changed? What's the situation with the
let me correct the impression. There is assistance from even the agency, but it's a peanut compared to the number of IDPs that we have. They keep increasing every day because the attack has not stopped. And even those who attempted to go back to their homes, they were killed. And today, I see danger coming ahead of us.
Why?
This number of IDPs, that I'm talking over 1.5 million, we are still counting. And what is the population of Benue State? Just about 7 million by projection. And now you have 1.5 million, over 1.5 million. And these people, the young men, the children are not going to school. They are not living in a normal camp. Every one of them is distressed because these are not even standard camps where these people are. So it's quite challenging. And our people cannot go to farm. Usually, Benue economy is driven by the civil servant, but actively supported by farming activities. All our civil servants and political office holders, we are giving them, encourage them to go into farming. And that is why for June and July, during cultivating season, we allow Thursdays and Fridays for those who are not on special assignment in the civil service to go to the farm so that we can add value to food security in the state. And during November, December, we will also allow people to go for harvesting. That is what we've been doing, and it's been very, very fruitful. But as of today, most of the land that was used for farming is no longer available because of this invasion. Those who attempted to go there, they were killed.
Governor Ortom, let me ask you this now, because this has been on for quite a while. And I'm thinking there'll be those outside Benue, maybe one or two in Benue, who may say, why don't you key into the National Livestock Transformation Plan, provide some level of land for the ranch facility that the federal government says it is ready to support interested states to do. Katsina, which is the president's state, I mean, it was publicly announced, the president has given them $5 billion towards that. There are other states, Nasarawa, Adamawa, and so on, which are also keying in. That why is Benue State not keying in?
Well, let me tell you, that is the challenge I have with this federal government. They are full of lies and deceit. And they try to create a negative image concerning things that affect Benue State. Benue State was one of the first states that keyed into the National Livestock Transformation Program. Why was it not implemented? Rather, even after our report, I'm a member of NEC, and NEC took time to try to find out the lasting solution to this problem. The committee that was set up by NEC came here, and the entire stakeholders of Benue State met with the committee, and we recommended for us in Benue State, we have land for ranching. Let us do ranching. Open grazing, there is no land for open grazing. And in any case, in Benue State, we also cause it to be included that we will not just look at cow business. We look at pigs, we look at goats, we look at other forms of livestock that can be grown here. Because as far as our people here are concerned, if you ask them the sweetest meat in the world, they will tell you that pig is second because they're not eating all the meat. So pig are supposed to be part of our own program. It is there, captured in the National Livestock Transformation Program.
So why didn't they do it? What did they tell you is the reason?
Maybe you ask them. For whatever reason, they've been trying to blackmail and cast me in bad light for whatever. Otherwise, if Benue State was the first state that started ranching, what every other state is keying in today, why are they not looking at where we are? We're on the program, but they chose to do it in Katsina. Maybe Mr. President comes from Katsina, so that is what it is. But I did say that they should apologize to me.
For what? For not doing it?
For not doing it, but not turning around to do it. What kind of hypocrisy is that? That is the point, because globally, ranching is the best practice. If you go to India, on record, you have over 300 million heads of cattle. In Brazil, over 250 million heads of cattle. In America, over 100 million. In Argentina, over 100 million. In China, over 100 million. In Nigeria here, the total number of cattle that we're talking about is just about 20 million heads of cattle. Why has it become an issue about this? Why have they refused to ranch? But all these countries that I have mentioned, all of them are ranching their cattle. So why have they refused to do that? So now that they have seen that what we started in 2016 is what will really solve this problem, they would have apologized to me and also provided money to me first in Benue State. And so that is why I say that we need apology and we need even more money to be given to us, because we will show them. We have a number of ranching that are going on here. The cattle in our ranch are much better than what you see roaming from Sokoto to Lagos and then to Portugal and to Benue and all that. But because these people, I tell you, the Fulanis have said it, that they are here for occupation. They want to take over the land, make every other person slaves, and take over and become kings over our people. That was what it is, not a hidden thing. I am quoting them. And they have said that nothing will stop them because they have an agenda to execute. That is why they are going on with this. Otherwise, long ago, they would have accepted that. If Katsina now is doing ranching, and I heard the governor from Katsina who said that open grazing is un-Islamic, just like Christianity in the Bible, in the Exodus. Open grazing is a sin, and you are punished. So if Islam and Christian are saying, and Christianity are saying the same thing, what is stopping us from doing the needful? But worst of it, these people who are here, who are calling themselves bandits and are kidnapping our children in school, who are calling themselves Fulani militia and are killing people and driving them from their land and taking over, why is federal government not going after them? Like they went after Sunday Igboho and went after...
It's at that point that I want to then ask the next question about your role as Chief Security Officer, which you made reference to earlier. You're a Chief Security Officer of the state, but as you pointed out, all the coercive agents of state are federal government owned and operated. So they don't report to you. The argument, of course, has also been made on the other side that they are federal government agencies, but that every state, including Benue, has a state security council, and that the military commanders in Benue, as well as the police commissioner, are members of the state council, which you as governor, you chair.
Yes.
And that any instruction or directive coming from there, they have no choice but to obey. And that if indeed there are part of them who are refusing to obey, they have no records of you having reported that this particular person or this particular command and so on is refusing to obey you.
I've already told you I told you that in Benue State the security agencies are cooperating, by just that they have limitations.
But back then, my apologies again for butting in. Back then, you set up a group which was
community volunteer guards.
Yes.
Yeah.
What has happened to that?
No, let me respond to this one you're saying first.
Yes.
I am the chairman of the State Security Council of Benue State, and all the security agencies are cooperating with me. To that extent, I have no problem with that. But I have told you earlier, they have limitations, which requires the federal government to actively support them to activate their equipments, provide the logistics. We do on our part as state governors to complement what the federal government is supposed to be doing. We provide logistics and all that to security agencies within our limited resources. I don't have problem with that. But when they have challenge with manpower, they're not enough. When they have challenge with logistics, then it becomes a problem. But if federal government wants, as they have done in the case of Eastern Security Network, and then they saw the Igboho thing, if they want to stop this, they would have stopped it long ago. And that is what I'm saying. These Fulanese are very vocal, and they come out and say that we are here. Let them come. They challenge government.
There are some people who say that you have been told, and you can confirm if that is not true, that you have been told that except you go back to the APC, this will not end.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not prepared to go back to APC now. I'm comfortable where I am today.
Well, some of your colleagues are going back.
It doesn't matter. That is their business. Politics is a game of interest. No permanent enemy, no permanent friend. I was in APC, but I was in PDP first. I left for APC because I wanted to be governor in 2015, and I was denied in 2015. So quickly, the APC in the state saw that, yes, I was a material to beat. And so I joined them and I won the election. And in 2017, when I was given red card after signing the prohibition of open grazing law, and some people in APC were not comfortable with it, I had to go back to PDP, and today I'm here. And so I'm comfortable with PDP. The truth is that if you talk about APC, why am I going to APC? APC have failed this country. Is it security? Is it economy? Politically and socially? Where are we today? We can't go to our villages. How many Nigerians can move from Lagos to their village, or Kano or Abuja to their villages? It is a problem. APC have completely failed. So why should I go there to join them? To do what? So it doesn't matter. I have been blackmailed. I have been intimidated. That has been told to me. It is true, but I am not bothered about that. I'll continue to do the right thing. Let there be justice. I fight for justice, equity, and fairness. And I challenge any other person who feels that I'm not doing the same thing here in Benue State to also challenge me. Go back to 2015. How much was $1? 180 naira. Today is what? 520 naira. How much was the economy? What was our foreign reserve? Check all those ones. Go to the organized private sector. How many businesses have folded up from 2015 to date? This is the challenge. How many people have been thrown into the unemployment market? This is the problem. And nothing is being done to ensure that we promote things that can add value and provide jobs and provide opportunities for our people. Government at the state level, at the local government level, at the federal government do not have the capacity to absorb our children that are coming out of university. So this is a big challenge. 2 years ago, I did a joint convocation in Benue State University, and we graduated 40,000 of our children. And I went to Obokolo. We graduated another 37,000. So where are the jobs? And when the private sector is dead, it becomes a problem. Where is the electricity? Check 2015 and today. Where are we? So this is the challenge we have, and nothing is being done to take away these our children on the streets, and most of them, as of today, they have gone into drugs because they have nothing to do. I have traveled to some number of countries, and what I have seen happen in Asia, in Europe, in America, and other parts of the world is that the private sector is responsible for driving the economy. Government regulates, brings in, put policies in place, and monitors to ensure compliance. But largely, to take these children out of the street, it is the organized private sector. That is where I come from. I'm a businessman before I became governor. And the intention is to allow the private sector, if they have the opportunity, they can really solve some of these problems. And some of these courtesan, kidnapping, and that are going on, if our children are engaged, you will see that it will reduce to its barest minimum.
Before we leave that subject, I must ask you, because it also came up when last I spoke to you. Economically, you've talked about the limitations, but in terms of Benue State, for example, you said civil servants drive it. The reports that are out there are that there are problems with salaries, pensions, and gratuities, not just in Benue, but I'm talking to the governor of Benue State, so
of course.
I'll ask about Benue.
Of course.
Are those problems still there, or have you managed to
I can't share away from that, and that is what the federal government used in insulting me. Anytime I try to offer suggestions that will help, they will say I should not talk, I should go and pay salaries. I've been paying salaries since 2018. I've been paying salaries. But the truth is that when I came in 2015, I inherited 70 billion arrears of pension, gratuity, and salary arrears. That is what I've been battling with. With the bailout funds we got, I applied for 70 billion. We were given 28 billion, just like other states. But other states, because I'm not in APC, they have refused to give me the second tranche. So they have maintained this. Each time I try to give a suggestion that we add value to even the government of the presidency, they come out to say that you have not paid salaries. But I've been paying salaries since 2018. The challenge I have is the arrears, but I have taken steps.
I just want to clarify, because you applied for 70
billion.
28 was approved.
Approved.
How much was given to you?
28 billion
was given to you.
Given, and we paid. We used it in depleting the 70 billion that we inherited. So a balance of about 42 billion was left, but through some other engagements and resources that we have gotten, I think we have reduced that to about 37 billion as I talk to you now. So that is the challenge. But some states were given the second tranche because they were in APC. Me, I'm in PDP, so I've been refused to be given so that I clear, so that they use it to say you are not paying salary, so you should not talk. But we have been paying, and the civil servants are happy with me. They have not gone on strike. The pensioners we have sat and agreed. I have domesticated PENCON law. We're just waiting to reach a threshold that we can borrow money from PENCON and clear the arrears that are pending. We're one of the states that we have domesticated, because that will be the final solution. And in the next few years, no pensioner will be suffering from collecting his gratuity or pension. Everybody will be there. They have registered. It is ongoing. I've established the PENCON Commission here in Benue State. They are operating. We have already been able to invest up to 1.3 billion naira, as I talk to you, since we started this program last year, to the fund of PENCON. That is why you don't have the people that I'm working with, the civil servants, moving against me. They would have done that since. I've been very transparent with them, and what is their entitlement, I give it to them. And by the grace of God, the projects we have executed is as a result of the support we get from our bankers through project financing. They domesticate whatever money that is agreed upon, and they pay to contractors directly. It doesn't come to state. And so,
can you expand on that a little? Because I know that when I spoke to you last, you mentioned one or two of the projects. But now I know that there's something that is under what you call your scorecard, your medium-term scorecard.
Yes.
So under that, what has been done? Because that's another accusation why is he spending all his time on open grazing? He's not executing any projects.
You know, it's a narrative.
Yes.
To paint me black by the federal government. They sponsor people. Instead of using money to do meaningful things to support the state, they are using it to castigate me for no reason. Benue people appreciate what I have done. A number of roads have been constructed here in Benue State and commissioned. Electricity project, a number of them. On health service delivery, we have several comprehensive health centers built and constructed. The general hospitals we have, we are renovating them, and in some cases, reconstructing them. And in all spheres of life, in sports, we are there. We have not left anything out, despite all the challenges of financing here, security and all that. We have been able to impact on the people. Those people who do press conferences in Abuja, they collect money from the presidency and do it. But they can't come here and do it. They know that they are lying. I constantly have stakeholders meeting, and it has been very fruitful. And all the times we have, the vote of confidence is moved on me, and the people are working with me. And as far as I'm concerned, as I always define democracy, is government of doing what the majority of the people say. So for me, I am doing their bidding. That is why I don't have any problem with them. Traditional rulers, civil servants,
I'm
all
sorry
the people, politicians
to
here.
because you mentioned
have you heard about anybody decamping from PDP
in Benue?
Another in Benue? You won't hear that.
I have to ask you this because
rather people are decamping from APC every day and joining me in here.
I have to ask you this because, of course, there are so many of your colleagues who have pointed out that it was essential to democracy, and so the drama that followed it was not unexpected. And I'm referring to what happened at the National Assembly with the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. There was a lot of drama. I don't know if you were able to follow.
I'm really disappointed.
Why?
With especially the APC legislatures. Yes, democracy is about the majority of the people, what they say. But there are certain things in government that you don't politicize. Electoral law, today you're APC, tomorrow you may be in PDP or ABGA or any other party. So if you do a law to suit what you're planning to rig election, and you tailor it towards that, then you may be in another party tomorrow. PDP was in government for 16 years. And in those days, one of my chairmen, which I disagreed with him, he used to say that PDP will rule for 60 years. Did they rule for 60 years? The 60 years was 16 years. Today, it is APC. I heard some APC members saying that they will rule for 100 years. They are not God. Power belongs to God, and he giveth it to whosoever he wills. I honestly want to advise Mr. President, if he is the same President Buhari that we know as a man of integrity, let him not sign that electoral bill. He should send it back to them.
But the APC has denied, both as a party and the individual has been, that they have any plans to rig the election.
Or rig any election. What do you expect them to say? What do you want them to say?
Well, what they say is that the PDP, which is accusing them of planning to rig the election, should provide evidence. Which election have they been?
The evidence is that why did INEC and NCC accepted that they have the capacity to transmit result electronically, and yet they rejected it? Why did they do that? It is very clear. Because they want to look for a way of rigging the election so that the actual people who vote, their vote will not count. It will be the people who will be counting that their vote will count. And in most times, those people who are counting are not even voters. You know? So that is the trick. We have seen them, but they will not remain there forever. APC will not remain there forever. They are not God. It happened to PDP. It can also happen to APC. So my advice to Mr. President from my heart is that he should hear the cries of Nigerians. Go to the media, social media, the conventional media, everywhere. Hear comments of people. Hear the comment of the former chairman of INEC, Professor Jega. You heard what he said. You know, it is really shameful that they are reducing this country to nothing. Lack of rule of law. The rule of law is no longer respected. Patriotism is no longer there. Integrity is no longer there because they want to remain there forever. But they are not God, though. There is God.
That there is God is a famous statement by somebody, but I will leave that at
But there is God now. Is it a lie?
There is God.
There is God.
I want to ask you about the situation in Benue regarding a national issue, which is this one of legislative and judicial autonomy. It took so long, and it pitted particular unions and so on against the state governors, not just your state, virtually every governor. And many of the governors pointed out that it was a lot of noise over nothing, because in many of their states, they were assisting local governments to pay salaries because what was their entitlement was not enough anyway. And that in the case of the judiciary, the same was applying. What's the case in Benue?
Look, the case I have ever supported autonomy, whether at the local government level. Some few months ago, the national leadership of NOGE, National Union of Roads, of
local government
employees, they came here and gave me a merit award for standing with them. I was a local government chairman myself between 1991 to 1993.
Indeed.
And we had local government autonomy, though some people did abuse the autonomy that was given to us. But that does not mean we should not grant autonomy to local. I support it, because the local government system is the one closer to the grassroots. It will reduce a lot of tension if they have that. That is when you have patriotic people leading the local government. On judiciary and legislative autonomy, I don't have problem with that too. And it's just that the Executive Order 10 was done in bad taste to shift away blame from the presidency and load it on the state. There was no need for any executive order. It's something that can be discussed. This is something we're already doing. At the end of every month, allocations are made to the assemblies, to the judiciary and all that. But I'm still studying a suggestion that one of my friends, a lawyer, brought to me, because the issue of judiciary, the federal government has a responsibility. We have responsibilities for just the magistrate and all that. But that notwithstanding, it was collectively agreed that one, we will challenge the Executive Order 10 at the Governors Forum. As law-abiding people, let us challenge it. And but we should go ahead and provide autonomy, which every state had a template that we met with the speakers and the judges. And today in Benue State, I think by next week, we should be passing the judicial autonomy and the legislative autonomy. But most of my colleagues who have already done it, I got feedback from them that they're already saying that no, we should revert back to what it used to be, where we are. I'm ready for the. I have nothing against that, because here in Benue State, I believe in the entire democratic structures working, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. Anything that will make them function better, I support it. I'm not against it.
Then the other one has to do with the minimum wage, the national minimum wage. Yes. That has been a continuing controversy.
Yes.
Because the governors had always said each state should be allowed to determine. Labour has always said no, that there should be a base and then each state can pay differently beyond that base.
It will amaze you to hear this about minimum wage. Since I came in 2010, 2015 have been paying more than minimum wage. Yes, the money, that is one of the problems I have. I have a very large wage bill here in Benue State compared to other states. In fact,
why is that so?
Let me say this before I explain to you. In the entire north, Benue is paying the highest salary. It will amaze you, but look at us here. An economy that is driven by civil service and then farmers. So our IGR is next to nothing. In the entire country, Benue State is number 3 after Lagos and Rivers. We are paying the highest salary. So when the issue of minimum wage came, I called Labour, we sat down, and we brought figures from other states. Look at what other states are saying, even with the minimum wage, and you're still taking higher. So what do we do? Is it not better to maintain what we have? Most times people who don't understand, but the workers in the state, they understand very well. So what we agreed at the end of the day was to say that levels 1 to 6, any person who is on less than the 30,000 minimum wage should be upgraded. But the level 7 to 17, they all agree that truly they understand the situation. I have never had any problem with labor here in Benue State because my actions are very, very transparent. Why my wage bill is high is because of what I inherited, and I couldn't reverse it.
That's the structure.
The structure and the amount, the wage bill itself was what I inherited. And you see, in some states in the north, what we are paying is double what they pay. And that is why I have this challenge.
But then the concept of minimum wage itself, where are you in the gathering of your colleagues, the governors? Because that is a matter that was also supposed to be part of the amendment to the Constitution that is going on side by side with all these other things that we have spoken about, which is that they want to move minimum wage away from the exclusive list to the concurrent list, which would then make it possible for governors like you to negotiate a more, shall we say, manageable wage with your workers and not take the template that other states are using. What's your position? And then, what is the Governors Forum still at the battle on this to ensure that that is done?
I can't remember the last time we discussed this matter again, but it was agreed that every state should negotiate with their workers. And you see, the advantage of allowing states to negotiate with their workers is that if you peg minimum wage at 30,000, for instance, other states are buoyant enough to do even double or even more of that. So I will subscribe. I will strongly suggest that it is better to allow states to discuss with their workers and agree based on the resources available to each of the states.
I can't end this interview without asking about two things. The first is COVID. You twice survived COVID.
My wife and children, 24 of my aides
caught COVID
yes.
in Benue. And remarkably, you survived, whereas quite a number of people in your age bracket and so on caught it once and they didn't come out of it.
What?
And now we are hearing that a third wave is imminent if it is not already in the country. What are your thoughts and what is Benue doing to prepare for that?
Thank you very much. For me and my family, the Bible says, John 3:27, a man can receive nothing except is given to him from above. I give glory to God because when it happened to us, myself, my wife, and family members, and then about 24 of my aides, who came together and prayed to God. And we took the medication that was prescribed, both local concussion, like onions and garlic. And
you can share it because other
ginger.
People may now need.
Yeah, those were the things I took. And were able to get through with it. We have also keyed into the national program of COVID. And we've also received monies from the national level. And currently, we have a quarantine center. We also had support from other goodwill organizations that provided help with what we have. So we have a standard quarantine center. Currently, we're almost completing the molecular lab that will be used instead of going to Abuja for testing, and we can
do the test
it here. This much, the federal government provided the money, and so it was used. We also bought kits, and we also keyed into the vaccination, but we are not making it compulsory. For those who want, can take it. For those who feel they should not take, it is okay with them. So we have not made it compulsory here. We recorded a number of deaths during the COVID period, but it was not massive. Restrictions were done, but not total restriction. People were still allowed to move. We massively educated our people up to today. The people are aware. With the new wave coming in, we have renewed our call for people to wear their masks and observe COVID-19 protocols. So far, I think I commend Benue people for their cooperation, for their understanding, and I believe that by the grace of God, we'll be over with it.
Your Excellency, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.